Hey friends, it's Alora and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about my favorite adult fiction recommendations. Some of these are technically adult literary fiction, call it what you will. This is a genre that for me usually takes a little bit longer to read, but that I really can fully appreciate. It lends itself well to characterization over plot, and oftentimes shows a lot of personal development and growth. Let's go ahead and launch into the recommendations. The first and perhaps my favorite book on this list is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This is a book that follows four men. At the start of the book, they're all around 25 years old, and it follows them for approximately 3 decades throughout their lives. It's a book about friendship. It's a book about growing as a human being. It's a book about relationship dynamics. It really delves into the topic of how your past influences your future, and I think more than anything, how you can choose to transcend things that have happened to you in the past in order to create healthy relationships and step into your power as an individual. This book has many trigger warnings, which I don't want to go into right now, but go ahead and look them up if you're curious in reading it. It's super heavy, though it may be daunting because of its 800+ page length. It's one of those books that's really worth it. Because it's so long, you feel so immersed in these characters' lives, and it really lends itself well to the writing style of starting when they're 25 and ending when they're in their 40s and 50s. Without that length, I think it would have felt incomplete. Ultimately, if you want a book about friendship dynamics and how individuals can transcend horrific events of their past, this is the one for you. The next book that I want to mention is actually a short story collection, and that is Unaccustomed Earth by Jhumpa Lahiri. Jhumpa Lahiri is an Indian-American author, and the theme of this short story anthology is feeling unsettled and as though you've lost your home. In this collection, there are 8 short stories that follow a protagonist who is of Indian heritage, and some of them live in the States, some of them live in Calcutta. They're all going through very different things in their lives, but it all comes back to this central Unaccustomed Earth theme. Ultimately, what I think makes this book stand out is not only Jhumpa Lahiri's incredible and impeccable command of the English language, but the way in which she weaves these stories together to form a collective and cohesive whole. I think that element alone will allow people who normally don't enjoy short stories to really find this satisfying. Next up, we have Normal People by Sally Rooney. Sally Rooney is an Irish-American author who writes about young people in their early 20s trying to come to terms with who they are and work through their own psychological and mental health issues. This book goes beyond the feeling of not fitting in to ostracization and feeling really concerned about your own self. There is a central relationship between the two main characters, and that is one theme of the book, how relationship dynamics work between two people given various backgrounds and circumstances that come up. But its main topic of conversation is people feeling like they're not normal, or like they could never be normal because of these things that they perceive are wrong with them. It's very poignant, and her dialogue is wonderful, and it's all about the characterization. That's something that I adore. Another of my favorite Irish-American authors is Donal Ryan, and the book that I want to point out of his is From a Low and Quiet Sea. I actually like a number of his books, but I feel like this is the one that I really want to showcase in this video. Not only because of the beautiful cover and the decal edging, but because it is really moving and heartbreaking. It follows 3 male protagonists and details their own individual internal struggles and battles. They're all from 3 very different backgrounds, and they've come together, not together, but they're all living in Ireland. One of Ryan's strong suits is bringing these disparate pieces of the story slowly together and interweaving them in ways that are both unexpected and brilliant, I would say. The next book that I want to recommend is one that's actually being made into a TV show soon, which is so exciting for me. I can't wait to watch it. And that book is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Now, I read her first book, Everything I Never Told You, and also really enjoyed that and found that one to be very engrossing and captivating. But if I were to only recommend one, it would be this one. It's the story of this family who lives in this very immaculate suburb. From the outside, they look like they have everything together, but As the title suggests, there are these little fires everywhere. There are these little sparks of discontent that are popping up in each of the individuals in the family, and those sparks are kind of brought to life by an event that takes place when this single mother, who happens to be an artist, moves into an apartment that this family owns and is renting out. She and her daughter kind of come in and create this sense of upheaval in this perfect little suburban neighborhood. It really looks at modern, Midwestern, suburban experience and how discontented one can feel when living in that environment, that you can have all of the modern conveniences that you want, but that doesn't make you happy. And again, there is so much character development in this book. At the very start of the book, the family house is on fire, and so the book kind of works backward, trying to slowly tell you the story of what events occurred to make everything go up in flames. My final recommendation for today is The Unseen World by Liz Moore. This is the story of a young girl who has grown up in an environment where her father is an academic. He is a university professor. She has been homeschooled. There's lots of discourse that is going on in their household at all times. She's learning things. She's a very bright child, and she's surrounded by all of these intellectuals. But as an adult, she realizes that her father was keeping something from her, and so this is kind of her journey of going back to her childhood memories and trying to figure out what was really going on during her childhood. Alright, those are my top adult fiction or adult literary fiction recommendations. I hope you got some new inspiration for books to give a shot. I really love all of these books. If I were to recommend you only one, it would definitely be A Little Life, but if you want to start with something that's a little bit shorter, maybe go with Donnell Ryan's writing, because those books are a lot shorter. Or maybe Jhumpa Lahiri's short story collection, because you can read those in little chunks and feel satisfied after finishing each one. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today while we discuss these books. Let me know down below if you have any adult literary fiction recommendations. I would love to know. And until next time, I am sending you love.